Hey guys, it's Dania and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm doing the requested video of how do I stay motivated during med school. So whether it's med school, engineering, law school, or just work in general, here's how I stay motivated so maybe it can apply to you. Quick background of who I am if you don't know. I did the International Baccalaureate, so that's 3 years in high school. I did a year of biomedical science and now I'm in my second year of medicine. So for the past 5 years, I have been grinding, I've been studying, non-stop working really hard to get into medicine, and now that I'm in medicine, I have just over 3 years to go before I finish my degree. So if you're curious on how I stay motivated to study, even though sometimes it gets a little bit boring, keep watching. It sounds cliche, but the main thing that keeps me motivated is my passion. Ever since I was a little girl, my mom told me that I could be anything I wanted in my life and she would support me. Whether that was to be a doctor like she was, a businesswoman like my father who does business, whether I wanted to create my own jewelry and sell it, be a fashion designer, anything I wanted to be, my mum said that she would support me. When I decided to be a doctor and pursue medicine, it wasn't something that was coerced by my parents. It's something that's super passionate to me because I've seen my mum help people. I've seen the way that my mum is so generous to everybody around her, whether that's giving knowledge, helping people, and just seeing the impact of my mum's career on other people's lives. I really wanted to be in that position, and my mum always told me that whatever you do, just make sure that you love what you do. You want to get to the end of your life and know that you spent 9 to 5, those long hours every single day, doing something you love, with people you love, and working in a career that made you happy and that you were passionate about. That's where my motivation comes from. I've grown up in an environment where I've seen my future career, a doctor, prosper, and I've seen my mum go through being at the corner of the bedroom studying. I remember being a little girl and she was sitting at the corner of this room on the floor, books open, her face was just covered in books. I can see it from a perspective that I understand what I'm taking on. I understand that I'm taking on 5 to 10 years of study, that I'll be working night shifts, that I'll be studying non-stop, that sometimes I won't have time for my family. But because that passion is there, I'm still motivated to continue. Whether your passion's to be an electrician and help people's electricity around their house, to install Wi-Fi for them, see little girls light up when after 2 months of moving into the new house they get Wi-Fi again. Whatever your passion is, that's where your motivation lies. I cannot stress enough that if you're in a degree that has been coerced or that's been pushed on you by your parents and you feel that that's not where your passion lies, I can't stress enough that that's honestly, at the end of the day, probably a waste of your time. I've met so many people, because in medicine you are in a degree where there's 18-year-olds coming in straight from high school and then there's 40-year-olds coming in with 5 degrees under their hand. For example, I met one of the first years coming into medicine and he said that he did a commerce degree, and after completing the degree, he worked in it for 6 months because his dad was in the field and he noticed that it was so boring for him, and while that might be someone else's passion like his dad's, it was not for him. Now he's in medicine and he is so excited. So it really just shows that if something is your passion, even though it's not your parents, not your siblings, it's something completely left field. Say your entire family, you came from a family of lawyers and you really want to pursue art. Don't ever feel pressured by your family or by your friends that your career should be something other than your passion, because like at 3 a.m. when there's an exam at 8 a.m, what would make you stay up for an extra hour knowing that you're tired, you're hungry, you have to wake up in 4 hours? At the end of the day, it is that motivation. Why are you doing the degree that you're doing? Is it because you want to grow up and be a big CEO of the biggest bank in the world? You want to create the biggest industry? You want to help people? You just want to educate people, you want to sell people your jewelry, whatever it is, you've just got to think of that. I feel like the main theme of all of my videos is to bring you back to your values and make you reflect on why you're doing what you're doing, because at the end of the day, motivation is something that can only come within yourself. I remember when we started medicine, it was a professor. He said, look, congratulations for getting into medicine, I'm really glad you all are in here. I just want to tell you from get-go that I hope that every single one of you is in here because you want to do medicine, because it is a grueling course, so demanding. Like in year 4 you have night shifts, you're up and about for 18 hours in a day often, and if you don't have that motivation within yourself to study medicine or to study your course, I'm not going to say there's not a point, because there's definitely a point, but it's going to be a lot harder. I feel like I'm going around in circles and you guys expected some tips like treat yourself with lollies with every paragraph you read, but that's all extrinsic motivation, and none of that is going to really pull you through a degree or pull you through a career of 60 years working in that industry. I love medicine, I'm motivated for it, but there are a lot of times that I'm not motivated for it. I shouldn't be saying this because I want to be a surgeon, but I hate anatomy. I hate it to my core. I hate learning the terms. I find it so tedious. How do I get through it? Honestly, I don't know. I do. No, see, this is it. Okay. What motivates? Oh, actually, I know what motivates me. I actually do know what motivates me. One thing that really motivates me is the feeling of success. This sounds so superficial, but when you're sitting in a big lecture and the professor asks some weird, quirky question that you can only get from the textbook, like what is the side effect of this random drug that nobody's learnt yet, and in my head I know that I know the answer, that little dopamine release, if you don't know, dopamine's like the happy drug, like serotonin, not drug, neurotransmitter. I'm out of it. I opened my fast in an hour, okay, so don't mind this video if I'm tired. Yeah, that little like rush of dopamine and that little like yes moment, it builds up, and I love chasing those moments, because that moment is like I have a mental checklist and I'm like tick, I'm on top of my work for that week, tick, and constantly rewarding yourself really keeps me motivated. Like my goal is finish my notes and finish memorizing by the end of the week, and when I do that and when I have that day to relax, it feels so good. Having a day when you are physically and mentally free from stress is what makes me work even harder the days that I'm not having that day off, the days that I'm working, whatever, that makes sense. Another thing is when you get really good exam results. You probably just saw my video of how I was disappointed with my other one, but at the end of the day, that motivated me to work even harder so I can chase that really good exam result. It seems superficial to chase something like that, but it's important that you don't use your exam just to get a good mark. At the end of the day, my reason for studying and learning content is to be a good doctor in the future. My stepping stone is my exam. I use my exam to check my knowledge, to have a little like yay moment if I get a good exam result, but it shouldn't be your end goal. Your end goal is your career, and that aside, exams are really good rewards where you can physically see your hard work manifest in a mark, and the happiness you get when you get that pass, that credit, that distinction, that high distinction, whatever you were aiming for, that's what's going to make you motivated to study even better next time. Like I noticed that once I get a good grade at the start of the year, I am so motivated to keep that going. I want to keep that streak. I want to work even harder next time. I want to see how much better I can do next semester. So whatever reward system works for you, that keeps me motivated so much. And honestly, at the end of the day, there's going to be stuff that you don't like. It's okay if you don't like some stuff, as long as you just use those little rewards and you understand that you're going to need it at the end, so you may as well study it now. Apart from that, I'm sorry if this video was a bit loopy. I'm so tired. I'm fasting. If you haven't seen my Ramadan and how I survived fasting in med school and university, I'll link that video. And if you have any other questions, you want to request a video, please let me know and I will be happy to film it. This is why you should get a script. What was the last thing that I said? He said, I don't know.
Just
Oh, I don't know how to word this.
do when, if you do when, if you do when, if you do.
I'm gonna have to do a lot of editing for this because I'm going around in circles, but that's fine.